Hey folks, Az here at Shield Canine. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about marking rewards versus just giving the dog the reward. And I actually like to do both in my training. I think there's a time and a place for both, and both of those things have a benefit, but they also have some downsides. So let's talk about that. Let's elevate our collective understanding of possibilities when it comes to rewarding the dog. A lot of people think of rewarding as just giving something. I'm just going to give my dog food. I'm just going to give my dog his ball. But there's a lot more to it than that. It's how the dog takes the reward, and it's also how you deliver the reward. So let's talk about marking. Okay, so the vast majority of trainers use a marker to tie a behavior to the consequence of a reward. Basically, it's a bridge between the reward and the the behavior and the positive consequence. All right. A lot of trainers use the clicker, so they like to click the behaviors they like and deliver the reward. And a lot of trainers like myself use voice markers. So for instance, for me, I go chip, and my dog knows when he hears that noise, he's getting something good, right? Down, out. Okay. So once again, down. The utility of that is that you're able to bridge the gap between a desirable behavior and the reward, okay? Now, I don't always do that. A lot of the time, especially with more experienced dogs, when they're doing something desirable, I will actually just deliver the reward for the desirable behavior. So, for instance, Foos, healing. All right, so my dog's healing. He's showing good energy. All right, I like it. Things are going well. I can just give him the reward for doing that. All right, so let's talk first about marking. Down. Why do I like to mark behaviors? Okay, so I like to use marking a lot in the teaching process. So if my dog doesn't really know how to do something and I'm teaching him something brand spanking new, a brand new concept, I like to use voice markers to incrementally work his way, help him work his way into the desirable behavior. So for instance, if I was teaching him to play dead, right? First, I would help him lie down and I would reward him for lying down, mark and reward. Then I'd turn his head to the left, I'd mark and reward that. Then I'd keep turning his head to the left until he rolled over on a hip, I'd mark and reward that. Then I'd keep doing it until he rolled all the way over on his side, and mark and reward that. And that marking for the instant that he offers a desirable behavior that I'm looking for, even if it's not the finished end product, helps him work his way and helps us work our way to the desired end where we want the dog to be. Okay? Now, that's really useful in the learning process. It helps the dog, you know, like I said, learn new concepts. And of course, I'll also use it with the dog who's already experienced, right, for the desirable behavior. Now, I like to use the marker when my reward is not where I want the dog to look. So I'll show you. Out. Okay, down. I'm going to hold the ball in my right hand. Down. I'm going to hold the ball in my right hand. Now, Foos, my dog's healing. I don't want him to look at my right side, right? So what I'm going to do here is I actually like to use an intermediate bridge where I go spin, chip, right? And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to bridge with the down, down. I'm going to bridge with the spin, and then I'm going to finish it with the terminal marker of chip. Okay? So my dog hears chip, and he knows it's a good thing, it's a positive thing. All right? Now, needless to say, these are good examples of when I like to use the mark. If the reward is not somewhere where I want the dog to look, but why would sometimes I just deliver the reward? Out. So for some dogs, like Gage, who have a lot of prey drive, Foos, and I'm using a prey type reward where, you know, I'm using like a ball or a tug or something like this, just delivering the reward actually can create more focus and fixation. He looks up a lot because he's thinking the reward is he can't quite see it because of where it is, but it's up there and it's going to come down and it's going to hit me. I got to be ready. I got to be ready. Whereas if I was marking, he wouldn't maybe have to pay the same amount of attention. He'd wait till he heard the mark to pay that level of attention. So here he stays in a high state of fixation because he's never quite sure when I'm just going to reward him, right? So for dogs like Gage, and you guys might notice down that my dog is tired. This is the 4th time I tried to film this video. The sound got screwed up every single time. It was unbelievable. I finally had to get rid of the boom mic, and we're just filming it with the internal mic, so I really hope this turns out, because if it doesn't turn out, I don't think this video is ever going to come out. Wow. Okay, so down, out. All right, so direct rewards, the benefit of directly rewarding the dog is it keeps the dog in that higher state of fixation. He's never quite sure when and where the reward is going to come, especially if you're a smart trainer and you vary it. So he pays just a little bit more attention. So for specific behaviors like heeling, where we want a lot of the dog's power upwards, that reward delivery from up, down, right, really helps the dog keep their energy up, especially for dogs that maybe learned the wrong way heeling, okay? So like I've had my last dog, Onyx, he had terrible heeling, okay? He looked down and that's how he learned. And even though I shaped a new behavior, his default after a while, right, he got tired, he got hot, was he started to drop his head. So what really fixed it was oftentimes delivering the ball from high up down, okay? And creating that behavior where he's always 9 times out of 10 expecting the reward to come from up. So of course, higher prey dog, he looks up more, okay? So this is where I like to use it. Now, of course, you can also use it, right, when you're doing positions, for instance. So you can get the dog, down to track the ball, right, and use his prey drive and his pursuit to get him to track the toy and then just deliver the toy. And him expecting you to just deliver the toy creates, again, a little bit more drive and intensity in the dog. Because again, he's not quite sure. He just knows he's got to pay attention to the toy, right? Because he's got to pay attention to whatever part of you has the toy on you or is holding the toy, because it's just gonna happen. And if he doesn't pay attention, he might miss the instant in which the toy becomes available to him. Now let's talk about the downsides of training like this, okay? So I'm gonna start first with the downsides of markers. The reason why I don't exclusively train always marking every positive behavior is because, like anything, habituation, habituation creates a little bit too much, it lowers the drive. He hears like 100 marks a day, right? And you see a lot of trainers, especially if you train your dog a lot, he's gonna hear that marker multiple times throughout the day. And it's going to become less meaningful. The dopamine rush he gets out of that is going to become less. Versus sometimes if you're just directly delivering the reward, and sometimes if you're marking, now the mark becomes actually a little bit more valuable to him. And he gets a higher level of dopamine because it's part of the variability that makes training so fun. The key is to not be predictable in a non-stressful way, right? And I like being very unpredictable in my reward delivery because the dog's always anticipating. He's always like, I'm not sure how the reward's gonna come. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come, but I gotta pay such close attention because it's gonna come in a way that I'm not predicting, right? And that lack of predictability keeps him on the higher end of his drive and anticipation and arousal for the desired behavior, okay? So the downside of too much marking is the dog kind of gets a little bored with it, right? And you can lose a little bit of the intensity and the fixation, especially if you want the dog to look somewhere specifically, like in heeling, I want them up here. You can see sometimes over time the dog becomes a little bit lazy with where he puts his eyes, right? If the reward is always marked, right? Because he doesn't have to pay as close attention. Oh, there's my mark, now I pay attention, right? Now, of course, that's not always true for every dog, but again, we're speaking in generalities. And again, we want to maintain the maximal dopamine response from the dog when he hears that. So now when I'm training, if I mark, it's like a double bonus. I'm gonna show you something. Out. Right, I'm gonna show you something. So let's say, putts. Right? Putts. Way, putts. So there, I marked twice, but I actually didn't roll down. I marked twice, but I did not reward. But I guarantee you my dog got, like if you had measured his dopamine response, he got the same dopamine response from hearing that mark and getting to think that the reward was coming as if I actually delivered the reward. He got the same thing out of it. Now obviously it's like anything in dog training. If I go to that well too many times, I'm going to start to lose that same optimal dopamine response to that mark. But I do that from time to time. I can just mark and I'll get more in a trial, hypothetically. Okay, I could be working with my dog and I could see he's a little bit flat. I could just mark, and all of a sudden you'll see a much, you know, the dog might break the position, but you'll see that spike in his behavior, that spike in his arousal. Down, out. One more little thing I want to share with you guys, down, about using down direct rewards. Foos. Down. That was not nice. I don't like that. Foos. Ooh, that's better. Good. Foos. Good job. Okay. So let's say I'm trialing. All right? And my dog's super used to having rewards come from up high. Let's just say I take a basic position. Okay. He's getting a little flat. He's a little tired. Maybe the judge isn't looking. Look at that. Now all of a sudden, there's an itch over here on the back of my neck, right? Just doing that, foos, increases the drive. Spin. Chip. Nope. Spin. Nope. Spin. Yeah, there you go. All right? So you guys get the idea. Down. Right? Direct rewarding, you can utilize, you can replace holding the ball with just kind of maybe reaching towards where he thinks the ball is because the ball has been there a lot, or the tug, or whatever it is you're using, right? Now the downside, out, down. The downside to direct rewards, if you do it too much, and I see this a lot, right, is people rewarding from places where they don't want the dog to look, okay? So let's say I'm holding the ball in my right hand and I'm heeling. Now the desired behavior is that he's looking up, but if I'm just delivering the ball from my right hand over time, I don't care how you shaped it, his head's going to drop and he's going to start looking across your body and crowding you because he's expecting the ball from the right side, right? Or even if it's in my right hand pocket, he's going to look across my body to the right hand pocket because he knows I always reach in there to give him the reward, right? So if I don't want him to look here, right, then I can't just give him the reward from the bad place. I need to use the mark to communicate to him that this was the desired behavior, and thus he can take the reward from wherever it happens to be, including my right side. Foos. Spin. Right? So, I hope this makes sense to you. Now, quick summary. Down. The benefit of directly rewarding the dog, right? It's variable, so it's exciting. It increases intensity and drive, especially in certain dogs, because they're never quite sure where the reward is going to come from, okay? And it just gives you another way to deliver the reward to your dog to maintain, you know, peak dopamine levels when you're training, peak levels of arousal and excitement. Now the downside, if you're delivering the reward from bad places, it can create a situation where the dog starts to offer undesirable behaviors like foraging and crowding and dropping his head, so on and so forth. Now, the positive side of marking, it's really great for shaping new behaviors. You can really mark your way into a new behavior. It's a great way to train the dog. And the downside is if you do it too much, habituation can create lower drive and lower intensity in the training, right? So using both of these, you know, either delivering the reward directly or actually marking and rewarding can give you more excitement and variability in your training, and it also gives you different tools to use at different times. Out. Down. See, I just told him to let go, and then I gave him the permission. Out. Sit. Flats. Chip. Hey, good job. I gave him the permission to take the ball, right? And obviously down, I couldn't do that directly because he's over there and the ball is over there, right? So sometimes direct, sometimes we use a bridge. Out. Stay. Direct. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this helps you. Check out our online training if you're interested in the way that we train, shieldk9.ca. And feel free to also check out our sponsor, Eric Outdoor USA. They have some fantastic training pants. All the pants that I wear come from Eric Outdoor USA. Just check them out. And they also provide vests and sweaters and all that type of stuff. Check out our website, shieldk9.ca. Our online store should be live, so the vests that I use in my training, the balls, the magnets, all the stuff that I like to use should be available now on our website, so give that a check out, shieldk9.ca. Like, subscribe, comment below, yada, yada, yada. I'll see you guys next time.